So now that we're done with the island palace, it's time to move on to the next palace. Unfortunately, the next palace is across the ocean, and we'll need to raft across. This doesn't seem safe in the slightest, but hey, when has that stopped us before? As we set off from a port near Mido, we will eventually come to Eastern Hyrule, which is basically just the largest island in Hyrule. Feel like somebody mentioned something about this at some point in time. Be careful when walking around Eastern Hyrule, as you are likely to run into encounters that have Tektites. Unlike in the first game, where Tektites were sissy little babies, the Tektites in Zelda 2 are nothing you can do to them will cause them any harm at the moment, so just flee if you run into them. Anyways, let's head on over to the nearby town, which is the town of Naboru. In Naboru, you'll find a woman who tells you that she's thirsty. Yeah, that tracks. Most of the women are in this game. So all we gotta do to quench her thirst is head on over to a fountain, grab some water from it, which we haven't been able to do thus far in this game, but whatever, then head back to the woman and quench her thirst. You can pretty much guess what happens from here. She invites us inside, we find a wizard, and the wizard gives us the ability to cast fire. On top of giving us a ranged attack, fire is able to kill enemies like the Tektites, which is what the guy in Rauru was hinting at, if you can even remember that long ago. TikTok is ruining this generation, I swear. Anyways, let's move on and explore the north half of Eastern Hyrule, considering the fact that a scary river devil prevents us from going south. In the north, we're likely to find the mountain town of Darunia, where we find a lady who tells us that her child has been kidnapped. Well, that's truly unfortunate. Oh, you want me to go find him, do you? Look, lady, I got way more important things going on than worrying about some missing kid. They think just because I'm a hero, I need to go out of my way to make their lives better. The nerve of some people. Anyways, we can break into this house by going down the chimney like Santa Claus, where a man inside teaches us how to upward thrust. A little dirty, not sure why we couldn't come to this conclusion on our own, but thanks for the free lesson, dude. So let's head out from Darunia and head on over to Maze Island, which, believe it or not, is an island that is a maze. Just in case you couldn't put that together. It's very likely that you'll get lost in this maze, but you're very likely to run into a bunch of action scenes where you'll run into the lizard like Garus. You heard that right. These are Garus, not Lizalfos. Two totally different species. Well, it blew my mind when I learned about that. Anyways, you might also run into this magic jar. Nothing like getting a random power up while you're lost in a maze. Also, if you get super lost, you might run into the kidnapped child of Darunia by accident. We might as well return the kid to his worried mother. Just because I wasn't going to go out of my way to find this kid doesn't mean that I'm heartless. Once we're back in Darunia, we give the kid back to his mother, who congratulates us for being a hero. Thanks, I was definitely always planning on doing this. We are then invited inside, where we can find another wizard who teaches us another spell. This spell is the Reflect spell, which might have one of the most narrow uses a spell has in this game. In fact, it's so narrow that the thing you use it against hasn't even shown up yet, so I'll hold off on explaining it. Anyways, let's head back to Maze Island and slowly navigate our way through it. Eventually, when we get to the end, we'll find another palace, because what else could have possibly been at the end of this maze? Welcome to Maze Palace. Surprisingly, Maze Palace is pretty straightforward. Boy, do I sure hate these wolf heads, or Mao, I suppose. Nah, wolf head is cooler. We can find some boots in here. Fairly certain we're already wearing some, but hey, free boots are free boots. So what do the boots do? Nothing in this palace. Ah, yes, finally, the Wizrobes are here. I can finally explain what the Reflect spell does now. So you remember Wizrobes from Zelda 1, those blinking, teleporting wizards? Well, in this game, they're a bit easier to deal with if you know how to. But if you use the Reflect spell, you will send the magic wave back to the Wizrobe, instantly killing it. Believe it or not, this is about to become very important. As we approach the end of the maze palace, we run into the boss chamber. The boss of a maze palace. Is it going to be some type of minotaur? Yeah, see, I've read books. Unfortunately, no. The boss of the maze palace is the wizrobe-like Karak, who is just Karak. Like, he doesn't have another name. I don't know why either. Now, some of you might be saying, hey, isn't that the wizard who cursed Zelda with eternal sleep? Although this is a popular fan theory that I actually enjoy, there is no connection between these two individuals. Don't get me wrong, it'd be really cool if there was one, but that would have required Nintendo to think out the consequences of the story they came up with. Anyways, how do we beat Karak? Honestly, this is the easiest boss in this game. All you gotta do is throw up a Reflect spell, and then slowly wait for Karak to defeat himself. Once he magics himself out of existence, we can then take the key and put the crystal in the statue. Amazing! All right, I'll see myself out.